Of Groovi Tuesday. My name's Paul Church from Clarity Stamp here in the UK. How is everybody doing today? It's Tuesday again, cup of coffee on hand, and we're ready to get in the groove again. So I'll just give it a few minutes and do my usual waffling. I can see people are tuning in. So once I see some messages pop down the side, Stuart's in the room with you today. So if you have any questions, then fire away. And I'm sure some of our lovely design team members will also be in the room as well. Quick snap. Who's first today? Good morning, Mo. Welcome. Lovely to have your company again. So Mo's the first one in. Who's going to come in next, I wonder? We normally have some great friends in the room. There we go. Lynn, Helen, good morning, good morning. Here we all come. Everyone's coming in, and I think that's my message from Stuart. Thank you, Stuart. The sound is good. Here we go. All of a sudden it goes blub, 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 all up the side with all the good mornings, the good mornings. Have we got any good afternoons, good evenings? I know we often get some lovely viewers from Australia and also the States. There we go. I can see Josie's in the room, Pat Hoskins. So, good morning. We've got Amy. So we've got people on YouTube and we've also got people on Facebook. So welcome. Should we do our usual? What's the weather like? Just until everybody comes in the room. So Chrissy started it off from a sunny Morpeth in Northumberland. Who else? We've got lovely Ken's in the room. Oh yeah, pancake. Oh, don't you made my stomach go. I've forgotten it was pancake day today. Ooh, okay, that'll be a topic to discuss a little bit later on. What do we have with our pancakes? But we'll leave that to a little bit later. Good morning, Catherine from Grey, Redditch, Cornwall. There we go. We've got all over the country, all over the world. Grey and Cornwall. Yeah, it's very grey and sort of overcast here in Kent as well. And the temperature, I think, has dropped a little bit since earlier on. It was quite mild, and it's it's just dropped a little bit. So, but hey ho, we're in the warm, we're indoors, and we're going to get in the groove, and we're going to carry on with the beautiful lace gridwork from Josie Davidson. There we go. Everyone's coming in now. So it's dull and chilly in Gloucester, grey in Bexhill-on-Sea, grey in South London, chilly and grey in Cornwall. See, who needs to watch the news? You don't need to watch the news and find out what the weather is. Just need to come into Groovi Tuesday. And we have the full weather forecast up and down the country. So Lorraine is in Fife. It's not bad here. Looks like it's been raining. Have you not looked out the window yet then? So, yeah. Clitheroe. Where's Clitheroe? Anja. Where is that? Is it? No, I'm not even going to guess because I'm rubbish at. I know some places if I've been somewhere. Good morning, Jane. Clouding over in Stockport. So it's great to have everybody's company again this week. Do we have any newbies in the room? Anyone tuning in for the first or the second time? If you are, welcome. Welcome to the Groovi party. So it's in Lancashire. Right, okay. Where was I thinking? I don't know where I was thinking. Don't ask me to think at all today. So did anybody do their homework from last week? Ask me if I did. Nope. But you know what? It doesn't matter, does it? I enjoy the hour we spend together every Tuesday. And for me, as I said in the past, for me, this is my sort of chill down. My voice is slowing down already. I don't think I'm as hyper as I normally am. So Amy is, it's still pitch black in Midwest USA. Weather will be up to 45 degrees. And you're a newbie. Welcome. Got lovely Alison in the room. So what else have we got? Good morning from Shoreham. Watching for the first time. Welcome, Karen. It's lovely to have so many newcomers today. How did you find us? Let us know. Did you find it because of getting in the groove, create and craft? Was you just searching around Facebook or YouTube? Very happy place this is. We have lots of fun, and often I'll say things without realizing what I'm saying. So Lorraine says she started last week and she got the Groovi Mac. I couldn't get it lined up, so I've started again. Right, okay. Question from Heidi. Can the inner double lines be embossed after the grid has been embossed and perforated? Not pico cut yet, but has been perforated. Yeah, you can. And just in case people are tuning in for the first time thinking, what does Heidi mean by that? Let's have a look at the plate that we've been working on we're on week number 8 now. So this is one of Josie's lovely ribbon duet plates. And what we have, it's one plate, it's an A4 square, but there's 2 sections to it. Okay. So the top half, which is a brighter white and has these double lines on both the outer side and the inner side, this is what we call the traditional Groovi. So these have been laser etched with embossed dots and lines. Then the bottom half has been, we send these off to a place to be precision drilled. So they have holes going all the way through them. And you'll notice that the pattern it's the same, but it's different, because the way in which it's been designed is that you can create a beautiful frame with just the embossed pattern. You can perforate a beautiful frame by using this part. But when you combine them together, this is what we end up with. So this one here is the Hope You Feel Better Soon. Okay. And you can see the reason they were called ribbon grids was so that if you wanted to, as an extra decorative element, you could thread ribbon through. Okay. Now, the part that Heidi was asking about was on the plate here, it has these double lines. And could you put them in after you've done all your embossing and perforating? On my piece of artwork, I did do it at the beginning, but there's no rules or reason why you can't do it afterwards. And what you would do is you would take the embossed part of the plate, make sure you're working on the back of your work, and then you would just have to line up the embossed pattern. Okay. So I would say that would take a little bit. You need a sort of good pair of glasses or a good magnifying glass, but it does actually slot back in. I can feel it sort of slotting back in. Good morning, Glynis. You're not late. Don't worry. Nobody's late to the Groovi train because you can go back and watch it again and again. Okay. So in answer to your question, Heidi, you can do it afterwards if you choose to. So what's that from Karen? I watched you on Create and Craft. I've got the starter kit, but it's still in the box. Get it out of the box, Karen. Once you get going, there's no going back. There really isn't. Okay. So what we've been doing over the past couple of weeks is we've created the frame exactly how it comes on the plate. Okay. And if you want to see how we created the complete frame, then you can go back and watch the previous episodes, go to like part 1, part 2, and I'll show you how easy it is to line up. And what we do is we create what we call registration marks or registration areas. And that was an idea that Barb came up with when we first started working with Josie's duet plates. So, so if you're new to the party, don't think, in a way, you sort of have come in halfway through the film. But the great thing is that film is available for you to go back and watch again and again and again, all free of charge. And I think that's the beauty nowadays of technology, where we have people tuning in from the States, Australia, any time of the night, day, morning. And if you can't watch live, then you can watch whenever it's convenient for you. And if you go to our YouTube page, I'm sure Stuart could pop a link up for us. There is hours and hours and hours of free tutorials. I mean, back in the day, Barbara used to do a YouTube Tuesday, every Tuesday, with the jelly plate, with stamps, with stencils. She was one of the first people to have a regular sort of, like, they weren't live, they were all pre-recorded. And you may even find some outtakes on there as well, because yeah, I mean, my outtakes happen to be live as we go along. So if I make a boo-boo or say something ridiculous, then it is what it is. This is live, so to speak. We don't go back in and edit it afterwards. That's the whole purpose of it. So let's have a look. So a question from Dawn. Ooh, I like all these questions first thing. Or, how do you get your dots so good? I've tried every way I can think of. Dawn. Okay, Dawn. So for me personally, it's just about the pressure. Okay. So if I take a, let's have a look. Let's go to the overhead. And we'll just have a little bit of a practice on this one here, just while everyone's sort of getting warmed up. Okay. So if I take my plate, make sure I'm working on the side that says emboss this side up. Okay, and I'm going to work on the back of my parchment. I'm just going to do a little bit here, just so that we can see. I'm going to take my Groovi tab just to hold it in place. I'm going to take a tumble dry sheet and give it a little wipe. And then I need my number 1 and number 2 Groovi tool, which I didn't get out today because I didn't think we'd be using it. But hey ho, I've got it all. See, I'm good. I say I'm good. Ask me if I've unpacked from the TV last week. I've sort of unpacked. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in really close on this one. Okay. And also, don't forget, we have Barbara's, which way am I going? In. I'm going to come in this way. So I'll come in slowly. Okay. Right. What was I going to say? Yeah. Don't forget, on top of YouTube page, we also have, you've got Barbara's blog, where there's often tutorials on there as well. And also the Clarity Matters blog, where every Sunday there's normally a step-by-step by one of the fantastic design team, where they show you the finished card, they take all the pictures, they write up all the instructions, and there's a whole vast library of tutorials on there as well. So I'm sure Stuart could pop the link up to the Clarity Matters blog, because I think that would be very useful for some of our new friends in the room. So Judith, not sure live chat is working, but the important bit, Paul and YouTube is okay. Okay, so when it comes to the chat, most of the chat does actually happen in Facebook, because that's where the majority of our viewers tune in when we're live. And the software that I use combines both of those chats together from both YouTube and from Facebook. So I can see, Jude, if you're actually watching on YouTube. So if you popped over to the Facebook page, you'd see a lot more of the chat and the questions. Okay. So in answer to Dawn's question, now I was watching Tina on Saturday, and she was doing some embossing using Josie's embossed pattern plates, which is the same principle as this. And if you hold the tool upright, I'm using the number 2 tool, and you give it a little wiggle, then the whole part of the ball from the number 2 tool fits perfectly into the dots. So if you give it a little wiggle like so, when you do that, then you should get a better embossed dot. Okay. Now, for me personally, I hold the tool at an angle, like I would when I'm tracing out a design. So if I press in, it's all about the pressure in your hand. Okay. Now what you can do, you can go in, I'm going to go in very lightly. I'm not going to put sort of too much pressure on. And then if I take a little piece of black card and pop that underneath, let's see if we can see the difference. Okay. So can we, yeah, we can see that, can't we? I'm going to come in a little bit closer. I hope it won't go out of focus, but I'll just zoom in a little bit more so that we can see that. So where am I going? I'm going in. And I'm going to come in really, 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 really. So Amy, Facebook name. If you go to the Clarity Stamp Facebook page, you should be able to see the live feed on there as well. Okay, so let's move this down. So I'm going to try and bring the tool in without it going out of focus. Jane says it's all about the wiggle. It is indeed. Okay, now this section here, I can see is a lot brighter. And that's where I held the tool upright and I wiggled. Okay. The second section is where I held the tool at an angle. And it's not as, I mean, I can see there, I mean, I've come in really, really close on this. My eyesight isn't that good to the naked eye, so nobody would really see that that dot there isn't a full dot. I've got the overall effect. And then this section, you can see it's very patchy. Okay. So if I now remove that piece of card, I'll just pop that to one side. Let me bring in the Groovi card. I'm going to do it slowly so the camera doesn't, wait, sorry. And now if I go back over with the same pressure that I applied when I did the first dot. So if you watch Tina on TV, when she's tracing out a design, she tends to go over the line art twice. I think sometimes we get into a habit of doing something, and if it works for us, then rock and roll. We're off. We're good and good. I can't speak. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking gibberish. Okay. So if I go back on, now another top tip I'll give you here at this point. I've got the plate coming down this way and I'm not putting that much pressure on. Okay. So I'm only catching part of the dot. Okay. If I turn the plate, I'm going to try and do this slowly, to the opposite direction. Ooh, oh, this is weird. So close. I've got my coffee in the way now. Let me just move my coffee, otherwise that could be dangerous. So I've turned it this way now. Okay. And if I now press in, what I'm doing, I'm catching a different part of the dot. Okay. So often when I'm doing white work on a design, I'll go in different directions because the ball tool, because I'm going on at an angle, catches in different areas. So now if I bring that black piece of card in place, then you can see I've now got a better impression. Okay. So I hope that makes sense, Dawn. And it maybe you need to get your wiggle on, as Jane calls it, and hold the tool upright and give it a little wiggle. Okay. So I've just seen another question from Jill. Is there a folder for these large Groovi plates? I can't find one on the website. Absolutely. It's the Groovi A4 square. I've got mine here. Let me zoom back out now. Let me go on the overhead so I can see how far I'm zooming out. Oh, dear. And if you're one of our Clarity Craft Club members, I believe they may be in the sale, in the members sale. I'm sure Stuart could pop a link up to the oh, there we go, look. Stuart read my mind. So this is the A4 square folder, Groovi A4 square. And this one happens to have all my lovely ribbon grids from Josie. I wonder what else I've got in here. Yep, I've got the happy birthday, congratulations, best wishes. So these ones you'll notice are slightly different. These are at a right angle. These are based on a straight grid. So I've got one folder that has all of my A4 square, and I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4 more spaces in there as well. And what I do is I keep my cutting guide and my instructions with them as well. I'm sure you have a very good wiggle, Dawn. I've seen you. I reckon definitely a good wiggle on you. So Alison Smith, hi, I'm a newbie, started at Christmas and I love it. I'm scared of attempting the cutting. Yeeks. We're all scared of the cutting at some point, but don't worry. Last week we really concentrated on the cutting, and I'm going to do some more this week. So hopefully you'll pick up a few hints and tips from this week, and you can go back and watch next week. You can go back and watch next week. How can you go back and watch next week when we haven't got the next week? Because it's right. Okay. So what we're going to need for today's session. Let me carefully remove that off the plate. Fire all those lovely questions across. And when I start cutting, if I do miss any, I know Jane's in the room, Josie's in the room, Glynis is in the room, and they will hold your hand and guide you. Okay, let's pop the plate over there. So I'm going to use my 12 by 12 super foam, and I'm using the black because I'm not using the light panel. And what I love about this is that when I'm working, it gives me a larger area in which to rest my wrist whilst I'm working. Now, some people prefer to pico cut in their hand. Some people prefer on the flat. So should we have a little vote on, do we do it in our hand or flat? So all we need to say is hand or flat, just to see what most people do. Okay. Right, so we're going to need, I'm using the super foam. If you've got the A4 Pico foam, then that's perfect. If you're using your light panel, then you may want to use your white super foam or translucent foam. Okay, we need our piece of artwork that we've been working on. And then we need our weapons of choice, as I like to call them. Okay, so what's coming up? So we've got hand, flat, flat, hand, both, hand, 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 flat. Well, it's a real mixture, isn't it? Yeah. Brilliant. Look at all that, all those. Hypothetically, I would use flat. I'm guessing, Amy, you haven't got to that stage yet. I mean, for me personally, when I learned my pico cutting, I learned in my hand. And I thought for me, that was a really good way to learn because it helped me to gauge how far to put the scissors into the perforations. And luckily, my parchment didn't turn red, which meant that I didn't go in too far with the scissors. So I learned that way, and I learned back in the day with the exclusive scissors, because when we first started Groovi, we was obviously aware of Pergamano, but the scissors that we used to stock were just the exclusive ones. And then when we purchased them, we then realized that there was the ring lock and there's also the Perga cutters. Now, I can use all three. I learned on these ones, and these are the ones that Barbara prefers to use. Okay. But for comfort, And while we're doing Groovi Tuesday, I prefer to use the ring lock. If I was at home and I wanted to perforate all of this in one go, do all of the picot cutting, then I would use the perga cutters. Let me zoom in a little bit more so we can see these in detail. It's interesting to see about the different methods, whether it's in the hand or it's on the flat. Yeah, really interesting. There we go. Josie uses a picot foam on her desk and she prefers the snips. So Josie, can I ask you a question? When you first started picot cutting, how did you first start? Was it in your hand? Was it on the flat? Was it the exclusives? Was it the perga cutters or squizzers, as I like to call them? It's interesting to find out how people first started out, and I think it gives us the confidence when we see some of the beautiful artwork from the design team. I mean, I know that Jane didn't do any parchment craft before Groovi came along, and look what she produces now. I go back to that story where the Groovi system gives you the confidence to be able to want to learn more. And there's no rules to say, Bob describes it as a bus journey. The first stop on that bus journey is just getting the crisp white line. If you want to get off the bus, then perfect. Happy with that. But I know from all the comments I've seen on Facebook and when I've done TV shows and people have emailed in, it's given them the confidence that they then want to learn more. And you can stop at colouring, you can stop at white work, you can stop at perforating. And the end goal, really, goal's the wrong word. Further along the bus journey towards the end is the picot cutting. And I'm sure there's lots and lots of all the little bus stops and detours in between. So what is Josie saying? So Josie's saying she started in my hand with the scissors that were available at the time, and we had to hold them the original way that was taught back then. You weren't allowed to hold them any other way. And you've been doing parchment craft since 1998. So how many years is that? 98? Many years. You don't look old enough, Josie, to have been doing it that long. That's all I can say. Oh dear. I do enjoy these hours together. We better get some snipping, haven't we? Otherwise this hour's going to be gone. I've got lots to tell you this week as well. Okay. So let's bring our guide back in. So with each of the different plates, the Duet plates that you get, Josie very kindly has designed, you've got a finished piece of artwork, which is actual size to the plate to show what it looks like when it's completed. Okay. And then on the back, you have written step-by-step instructions on what to do with some hints and tips. And then you have your cutting guide, and each of the plates will have different cutting guides because they're all cut in different areas. Okay. So last week we had a look at this part of the pattern, and we went through and we did all the little like starry flowers, then we did the little ziggy-zaggy bits. That's the technical term, the ziggy-zaggy bits. So you could thread the ribbon through if you choose to. And then we did the little sets of 3. So now we're going to have a look at this side. Okay. So what we're going to do, first off, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my glasses on. Okay. Varifocals are much better. So if I turn the work this way, and I'm going to pop it there so my hand is resting. And I'm going to turn the pattern so it replicates. Let me bring that down a little bit now. So it replicates the area in which we're working. So you can see here, we have this little row here of the sets of 4 perforations, which is the same as it is over here when we did these little ones. Okay. So, and then you have the starry flowers. And what we're going to do first is, I think I'm going to go for the starry flower. I'm going to go for the bigger area. So when you're working to create your Pico cup, the length of the scissors need to be over the area that is going to fall away to create the aperture. Now I did have, let me have a look. Hang on a moment. I know I've got some here. Here we go. Excuse me, sorry. Let me bring this in. Okay. So for example, if these were our perforated dots here, and the bit in the middle is the area we want to fall out, then when we're working with the scissors, we work with the scissors over into those 2 dots. Okay, so the length of the scissors is over the area here. Let me just take a pen. Let's see if I've got a pen. So see if it will work on here. So this is the area we want to fall away. Okay. And so the scissors go over and we snip and we turn. We turn our work rather than turning our scissors, because you imagine it's quite uncomfortable to hold the scissors in this angle. Okay, so this shows you how we do that, and it's explained very clearly from the instructions from Josie. Okay, so let's have a go. So to warm up, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move this guide out of the way. And the idea is that you take the tips of the scissors into the perforation and you squeeze it gently. And as you squeeze, you'll see it starts to form a point. And then you snip and you get that satisfying snip. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do one first, just to show you. So my hand is there. I'm going to come in a little bit closer. Okay. So let me just zoom in a little bit more. Woo, that was funny. I looked at the wrong part. Oh, looked at the wrong part of my glasses, and it went ooh wee. Okay. Right. Let's see how close I can come in without it going out of focus. So I just saw a question. Where's it gone? From Tina. Please could you show us how you hold the parchment in your hand while snipping? Yep, I'll definitely show you that. Okay. So I'm keeping the scissors in the same place. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn. I've got a massive desk here, but it's cluttered up. So I'm going to turn my work and then snip. Okay. If it's a little bit too close, let me know. Snip. But you'll notice that the scissors are not moving. Well, not really. And then snip. And snip. So you can see this can take, I mean, I'm going really, really slow. Just to show you. And then we'll have a look at another way of doing it. So now we've snipped and we have our little aperture. Okay. So you can do them individually, just to, if you're starting out. But then as you get more confidence, what's easier to do is if I bring, right, okay, let's start up here. I'm going to go right to the top. So what I'm going to do now is I'll often bring this hand in just to rest. So I'm not resting the scissors now, I just need to get the right sort of angle. Okay, and I'm going to snip there, there, there. So I'm doing all of the ones in that direction at the same time. Okay. Snip, 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 snip. And for me, I find this quick isn't the right word. I just find this way is a little bit more easier, because you're holding your scissors in that same position and you're just moving, oops, sorry, moving a bit too far, moving your artwork to accommodate the comfort of your hand. Okay, let's just move it down a little bit more, like so. See, it's just so, my voice has really slowed down now. It's just so satisfying. And you know what? You know, we were talking about, Dawn was asking about how to get a whiter embossed dot. And I said, if it's not that white or it's not that dotty, so to speak, it's the overall look that we're aiming for. So if one of your picos isn't pico enough, so to speak, so what? I mean, if it's really, really bad, then you could use a butterfly or a flower to cover it, or a piece of ribbon. You put a little bow on it. So now all we're doing is going along in the same direction, and it's all about just squeezing gently. And what you'll find is that you automatically know how far to keep opening your scissors when you sort of reopen. I mean, obviously you don't want to go wide, but your hand gets into that natural rhythm of opening the scissors in the right position. And it's doing these pieces like this is a real good way of learning how to do your picot cutting, rather than a line of perforations, okay, and then perforating that, and then the eye is automatically drawn to any imperfections, whereas in areas like this, not so much. Okay, so we're just working our way along like so. Did that one. So now I'm going to turn my work again. There we go. Let's have a look where we're on the camera. So now we're going to do this row. Go up and do that one. And it is just a tiny little snip. Okay. Now, if you find that when you go in, when you put the scissors in and you snip and you find that the scissors are not snipping, so to speak, then it's possible that you've gone too far into the foam, and what you're actually trying to do is cut the foam. Okay. So Lynn, I'm left-handed, and when I'm cutting, I tend to turn the scissors towards me rather than away. Is there a difference? I don't think so. Some people don't twist the scissors at all. Some people, what do? I mean, I'm right-handed. I come towards me, and I'm sure when Barb's snipping, Barb's left-handed, and she snips away. I don't know. I don't know whether there is an actual difference. Maybe so. Jane says, I'm right-handed and turn the scissors towards me, as long as you don't always As long as you always do the same, it doesn't matter. Okay, that's fair point. So Josie, do you towards you or away from you? Is there a right or wrong? I don't know. I didn't read the rule book. There possibly is a rule for saying you've got to snip towards you. I don't know. I just do it without thinking now. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't read any rule books when it comes. I just watched the likes of Linda Williams, Tina Cox, Josie Davidson. I mean, when we first started, I remember me and Barb were in fits of laughter when we first started picot cutting, because we was watching some YouTube tutorials, and a YouTube tutorial that was using the exclusive scissors in the traditional method. Okay, and I'll explain the traditional method shortly once we've finished all these perforations, picot cuttings, because it won't take long to do. And I'll tell you what, my right arm didn't have any bingo wings, but my left arm did. My right arm was very toned, and I'll show you why in a minute. See now, without even thinking about it, I'm tilting slightly towards me. Don't ask me why. No idea. Let me just move this tool out of the way. It's bugging me. Okay. So once we finish this, I'll show you a couple of things based on the questions that are popping up. Do you have the tips upwards or do you have the tips downwards? Again, it's preference. When I first learnt, in my hand, the tips were downwards. And then as I progressed and realized that you could do it on the flat, then the tips are pointing upwards as what we call the spoon position. Okay, so we've got 2 more sections to do. And then, so if I turn around here now, and we come along this section, so we've got 2 more areas, 1 more after this. Okay, just like so. Still in camera. Need like the camera to sort of like throw a light down. So it's like one of those invisible lights, so you can sort of see where it is that the camera's looking at. So otherwise, or the other thing is I could get eyes in the top of my head. I wonder whether that's possible. No, I don't think I'd want eyes in the top of my head. Maybe the back of my head. No. Don't be silly, Paul. Okay, so we've got 1 more little section to do, but we can see now how it's all of a sudden starting to come together. Okay, so then we're going to turn around, make sure I'm still in camera, and this is the final picot. Okay, so just now my hand is at the wrong angle. I just need to turn my work. I could feel it instantly that my hand wasn't comfortable. It was a little bit twisted, and it's easy to adjust by just turning your work. Okay, trying to keep it flat so that we can do the big reveal with all of them at the same time. Oh, sorry. I need like a siren to go off when I go off camera. But I know there is a slight time delay in what I'm saying and with it being broadcast. It's the same with, I think, live TV. There is this, you don't notice it, but there is a slight delay when we broadcast on TV. Okay, so we're almost there on this. Look, that one just flew out. Okay, so let's bring this into play now. We'll get most of it. So now when I lift this up, you can see, there we go, have those lovely, oh look, I've missed one. There's that one. Okay, so I've got that one there, so let's bring that round. If you find that you've got one that hasn't come out, don't try and poke it out, because if you haven't snipped it, you've missed it. You don't want to rip what you've done. Okay, so let's have a look. So now we have our little stars. So should we have a look at Josie's piece that she did? So we're using Sending Love Your Way. So this is Josie's, and this is mine. Josie's a little bit more pointier than mine in places, I think, but the overall effect is the same. Okay, right, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit now. I'm going to do me yoga, me stretching exercises. Let's have a look. Glasses, which way am I going with glasses? I want to zoom out. There we go. So when we look at the overall effect of the pieces of artwork, so if I turn it around this way, because this is the, no, that is the right area, isn't it? You can see we still have a little bit of picot cutting to do if we choose to. Okay. Need to get some oil on this chair. Okay, right. So let's have a look at some of the questions that have popped up. What way do you hold your scissors? Do you go point up, point down? How do you picot cut in your hand? Okay, let's address the point up, point down first, and I'll do that on the overhead because it's a lot easier to show you that. So let's move that out of the way. We'll just clear off the little bits that have fallen out, like so. Bring that back in. Now, all of the Pergamano scissors all have a curve to them. Okay, they all curve. Let's see. Okay, so you can see, so they're not flat scissors. Okay, so when I first learned how to, so when you're picot cutting, if you have the curve going up, it's the spoon position, because that's what a spoon looks like, doesn't it? It's curved upwards. And if you have the points going down, it's like a fork. So it's a fork position. Okay. Question from Alison. How long did it take you? It took me probably about 6 months on and off. I mean, I wasn't doing it constantly. I was probably doing it once or twice a week, as and when required. Some people I've been on workshops with, and they get it straight away, which is very annoying, but a nice type of annoying. So when it comes to holding the scissors, the way that I first learned was the traditional method, where the 2 fingers went into, the point was going down, and the 2 scissors went in like so, and then you went in to your perforation and you brought your scissors down and then snipped and twisted. Okay, so let me show you the way that I was doing it. So if I take my piece of artwork, and you can see why I'm so glad now that I found different ways of doing it, because I really don't think I would have been able to have continued doing it the way that I first learned. So I'd hold, I'm going to put my glasses on for this. So I'd hold the parchment in my hand, Okay, the area in which I'm working. And it was mainly this finger, that one there, okay, that I'd be concentrating on. And I'd hold it underneath. And the idea was that you went in and you came down and then you snipped. Then I turn it round. Okay, just watch this arm. Okay, so I'd go in, down, squeeze and twist. I go back up. It was really, this arm was like up and down like a yo-yo. It really was. Oh my goodness, there must be an easier way of doing it. So the way, as I say, the way that I learned was with the points going down, because I could feel how far the tips of the scissors were going in on my finger. Okay. Now, some people, when you buy the scissors from us, the Pergamano scissors, whether it's the exclusive, the ring lock, or the perga cutters, you get a piece of pico foam. And some people prefer to have that on their hand, hold their work, and then work on that. It just protects your hands, your fingers underneath. And also it can allow it to sort of stand out a little bit. But for me, I mean, if I was now, let me go back to my ring lock and I go in. Now, where was that one I was doing? If I was doing it in my hand, I'm in the spoon position. And you'll notice, because I'm in the spoon position and what I'm doing is I'm coming in from underneath. So I'm coming in with my thumb and my forefinger, and these two fingers are here balanced. Okay, so then when I go in, because it's like a curve, it's already curved up, then it's already creating, it's already sort of lifting the parchment. Okay, and depending on the piece you're working on, if you've got a large piece of artwork, you might find it a little bit uncomfortable holding the large area. So that's why I tend to work on the flat, because this hand is rested and this hand isn't doing anything. Okay, so let me just see. There's a top tip from Pat Hoskins. Okay, keep those little stars you have cut out, emboss the centers with a large tool, very white, save for 3D flower centers on another project. Color if you wish. Okay, Pat, I'll make a note of that. I'll pick them all up off the floor where I've just put them and I'll keep those for a future project. Thank you. Okay, so what have I got to tell you this week? Okay, let's oh no, I've missed one there. Hang on, that one. That's a, see, now that is an imperfection because there's no hole. So let me just do this one. Wasn't it the same place? I think it was as the other one. There we go. Now there's no imperfection. Maybe be a dodgy bit of pico cutting, but there's no imperfection for the overall look of it. Okay. So what have we got this week at Clarity Towers? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Right, okay, so this week at Clarity Towers, if you belong to one of our craft clubs, you will be aware that we kicked off our half-price member sale. It ran from yesterday until the end of the month, which is midnight Tuesday the 28th. In order to stop talking. Make sure you log into your account before popping anything into your basket so that the product will be at 50%. Not everything Clarity and Pergamano is in the sale. Some stuff that's been on TV recently will be excluded, or anything that's sort of really new, because it's not fair to people that have just bought it. I mean, I know a sale's a sale, but so we have our member sale that's running until midnight on the 28th, which is Tuesday of next week. You can place your orders online, or you can give the lovely Janine a call and she will take the order over the phone for you. What else have we got? Today is Tuesday, as we know, because it's Groovi Tuesday. So that also means we kick off with another brand new design of the week that has 30% discount on it, plus your club discount if you belong to any of the clubs. So it's not in the member sale, it's outside of the sale. So you get 30% off plus your 10 or 15% club discount. So that's Tuesday, yeah. Then Stuart popped the link up earlier for the Clarity Matters blog, and I know Jane was compiling a list on Groovi and Clarity Worldwide to see what topics people would like covered. So the lovely design team. Oh, there's Carol. Good morning, Carol. Carol's on beans on toast. You can afford bread as well as the beans. What's more expensive, I wonder, bread or beans? You probably get more out of bread than you would out of beans. So I'd go for bread. So as Jane said, it's definitely worth joining. You can join. It's you can join 1, 2, or 3 of the clubs. You've got Stamp, Stencil, and Groovi. If you belong to one, you get 10% off. I think it's free. 1 or 2 clubs, I think it's 10%, and 3 clubs, it's 15%. Might be wrong on that, but it's all on the website. Jane's just popped a link up on there for that. And as soon as you sign up, your account is automatically activated so you can take part in the half price club member sale. We do that twice a year, and we delayed it slightly this year due to bits and pieces that were going on here at Clarity Towers. But it's definitely worth the clubs. Remember, if you love Groovi, then the Groovi one is great. I mean, they're all great because you get a product. So if you're in the Groovi, you get an A6 square Groovi plate, and you get a double-sided concertina step-by-step project sheet. And the same with the stamp. You get a stamp, double-sided product sheet. Stencil, you get a stencil and double-sided product sheet. You also get a newsletter from Barbara, and we do, say, the half price member sale twice a year as well. What else do you get? And then if you come to any of our events, our open days, our retreats, you get a discount there as well. So definitely worth. For me, it's like Christmas coming through the letterbox once a month, and they're actually being packed as we speak, and I think they're due to leave the building today stroke tomorrow. So they should be with you. The February one will be with you very shortly. So yeah, so clubs, the Clarity Matters blog, check out Barb's blog every day. Barb's giving us a quote a day, and she's also giving us an update on what she's up to now that she's home safe and sound, back out of hospital, taking it one day at a time, step by step. So, so if you want to keep up to date with what's going on with Barb, then check it out each day. What else have I got to share with you? Oh, I'm on TV on Friday. Top of the list, and I've just missed it. So on Friday, I will be back on Create and Craft at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. And then I'm going to do a cheeky little extra hour at 11 o'clock on Craft Extra with some beautiful stamps designed by Barb. So make sure you sign up to the newsletter, our emails, because you'll get a sneak peek of those. So, yep, so after this, I'm prepping for that show, and I'll be heading up there Thursday afternoon, stroke evening, to set it all up, ready to share some more beautiful designs and artwork with you. And so we've got stamps, we've got stencils, and some new dies as well. So I'm looking forward to that. I've already had a bit of a play. I've gone through all the artwork and thought, oh, I like that one. I like that one. I want to do this one. I want to do that one. Whether mine will look anything like what the design team have done, who knows? But I'll put my little twist on it. And yeah, that'll be a fun 3 hours. So that's 9 till 10 on Create and Craft, 11 till 12 on Craft Extra, and then 1 till 2 on Create and Craft, the main channel. So I think I've covered everything. Just looking at my little list over there. So I write a list each week. Look, each week I have a list, so I can go back and say, oh, what did we talk about the other week? Or when did we do that? So I have my little list here. Barb has the same. She has a little book where she writes it all in. Book's too organised. I just do it on a piece of paper. Yeah, and then next week we shall carry on with our picot cutting. So those of you that are new, give it a go. Don't do it on your finished piece. Practice first, and then if you feel comfortable, then do it on your artwork. So we'll carry on. I reckon, no, I'm not going to say these things. I normally say, oh yeah, we'll get it finished next week, but we never do. What's the rush? We enjoy getting in the groove and being part of the Groovi family. So thank you to Stuart for helping out in the room. Thank you to the lovely Jane, Josie, Glynis, and I saw Carol in there as well. Also for all your lovely questions as well. No question is ever a silly question if you don't know the answer. And I'm sure if you want to know the answer, then there'll be other people out there that are maybe a little bit too shy to ask. And by asking it written down, then there's no embarrassment, is there? So thank you all very much. I look forward to chilling out with you again next week. So stay safe. I will see you all on Friday on Create and Craft, and we'll get back to our sniffing again next week. Thanks so much. See you all soon. Bye-bye.